An historic and controversial move coming out of Madison, Wisconsin, an historic and controversial city. That city is now the first in the country to pass legislation listing atheism as an officially protected class.
So how will that impact discrimination lawsuits, and could other cities follow suit?
Take a look at this painting displayed at a courthouse in Camden County, Missouri, to honor the victims of the September 11th terror attacks. It shows the Ground Zero cross emerging from the rubble as a New York firefighter and a young girl look on. And you can see the Twin Towers in the background.
But now that painting has come under fire from an anti-religion group that claims it's a violation of the separation of church and state. The Freedom from Religion Foundation wants the painting taken down.
Hundreds of people rallied this week in St. Louis in a suburb called Wentzville, and they did it to support a display of the national motto, "In God We Trust," which hangs in their city council chambers. A woman protesting the motto was escorted out of the council meeting last month for exceeding her time limit, but not before she made her point.
Fox News has long been the network that conservative America rallies behind, a beacon for faith-based values and the good old days of God-fearing, flag-waving patriotism. But not everyone at the network spends their time quoting scripture or tying their political beliefs to divine intervention. Enter Kat Timpf, Greg Gutfeld, and Lisa Kennedy Montgomery, three of Fox's most compelling and polarizing personalities, who, let's just say, aren't leading the congregation. While many Fox viewers assume they're tuning into a network where every host is ready to deliver a sermon on Sunday values, these three are here to shake things up. With their agnostic leanings, libertarian ideals, and sharp critiques of organized religion, Kat, Greg, and Kennedy offer a refreshing, or for some, scandalous, contrast to Fox's typical Christian conservative vibe. Let's break it down. Kat Timpf has made a name for herself as the clever, sharp-tongued libertarian on shows like Gutfeld and The Five. While her comedic timing and biting commentary are what draw people in, her views on religion are what keep people talking. Kat openly identifies as agnostic, which is basically her way of saying, I don't have all the answers, and neither do you. Kat's perspective on faith is refreshingly unpretentious. She's not out here condemning anyone for their beliefs, but she's also not signing up for Bible study anytime soon. Her skepticism toward organized religion often shines through in her commentary, where she's quick to challenge the idea that morality and faith are inseparable. What makes Kat's agnosticism even more interesting is how she handles religious conservatives, particularly when they try to intertwine their beliefs with government policy. She's been vocal about her belief in individual liberty and the separation of church and state, often pushing back on attempts to legislate morality. Her stance has, unsurprisingly, ruffled a few feathers among Fox's more traditional audience. But love her or hate her, Kat isn't here to play by anyone else's rules, divine or otherwise.
So you were a Catholic, right? Is that correct?
I was so Catholic. I was an altar server. I did bread and water fasts as a child for the souls in purgatory.
That sounds like child abuse.
Dude, my mom was so Catholic. It's crazy. Like, she would put like Benedict medals over all the I write about this in this over the doors, and like to keep the devil out. So I grew up being like scared of the devil, but I also thought I had this like benevolent being looking out for me. So maybe that's why like I've been pretty.
Greg Gutfeld is a man who thrives on challenging conventions, and religion is no exception. As the host of Gutfeld, Fox's late-night comedy show, and a key player on The Five, Greg has carved out a unique space for himself as the network's resident skeptic. Greg doesn't wear his religious beliefs, or lack thereof, on his sleeve, but his irreverent humor and no-nonsense attitude make it clear where he stands. He's less interested in quoting scripture and more interested in pointing out hypocrisy, whether it's coming from the church, the government, or the entertainment industry. What sets Greg apart is his willingness to question not just religious institutions, but the broader societal norms that often go unquestioned. He's not afraid to poke fun at the sanctimony of certain religious figures or call out the contradictions in how people practice their faith. His secular approach to life doesn't mean he's anti-religion, it just means he's not buying into the idea that you need a church pew to have principles. For Greg, morality isn't dictated by a higher power. It's dictated by common sense and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Watching this Luddite leftist condemn capitalism when it's lifted millions of people out of poverty and despair.
If Kat and Greg are the agnostic and secular voices of reason, Kennedy is the libertarian firebrand who's here to remind you that freedom of religion also means freedom from religion, a longtime host on Fox Business and a frequent contributor to Fox News. Kennedy's approach to faith is less about divine intervention and more about personal liberty. Kennedy's libertarian ideology puts her firmly in the camp of live and let live. She's all about the separation of church and state, and she's not shy about calling out attempts to blur the line. For Kennedy, faith is a personal matter, and she's quick to push back against anyone trying to legislate their beliefs onto others. While she doesn't openly identify as atheist or agnostic, her commentary often leans toward a pragmatic view of religion, acknowledging its role in society while emphasizing the importance of choice. Want to go to church every Sunday? Cool. Don't want to? Also cool. For Kennedy, it's all about respecting individual freedoms and ensuring that no one's beliefs are imposed on anyone else. Their presence on Fox News challenges the assumption that the network is a monolith of religious conservatism. Instead, it highlights the diversity of thought within its ranks, proving that you don't have to be devout to have a voice or an audience. So, whether you're tuning in to laugh at Greg's biting satire, marvel at Kat's quick wit, or nod along with Kennedy's libertarian ideals, one thing is clear: these three aren't afraid to keep it real, even if it means leaving God out of the conversation. And honestly, that's exactly what makes them so fascinating.
A talking snake. I'm sorry, I gotta say that's silly.
You know what? You know
Atheism is a religion.
No, it's not.
It absolutely is a religion.
Absolutely.
You know what?
It's a religious faith.
It's so not.
It is so.
Atheism.
It is.
That's the most
belief adhered
shallow
to with zeal
argument.
and fervor. It is not a shallow argument.
First of all,
I'm a philosophy major.
Religion doesn't.